let's talk a little bit about that season preview for the Pittsburgh Penguins because, well, it is preview and prediction season. And the biggest thing I want to ask you, Horwat, is what is the biggest question for the Pens going into the season? There are plenty to choose from. The left side of the defense is interesting. Caleb Jones playing alongside Chris Letang, that is a question mark. And that could be in the running for biggest question, no doubt about it. Will they, won't they? With big name trades. Rickard, Rakell, Bryan Rust, I think that's an option as well. Dan Muse, you have a new head coach, you have a new coaching staff. Of course, that's a big question. So, Horwat, of everything surrounding the Penguins heading into this season, what to you is the biggest question mark they have going into the year?
I'm going to go with those will they, won't they on the trades.
Yeah.
That's part one of the question, because part two can kind of be how committed to the rebuild are they in terms of how much are they digging out? How much of the dead weight or how much of the big names are they going to send away? And I think that boils down to which of the big names are getting moved. Not when or if, but are they? Because really, are they? We thought they were all going to happen this offseason. And yet here we go in 48 hours away from puck drop on a new season. And Karlsson, Rust, and Rakell are all still here.
Yeah.
So already the pacing of trades has been not what we expected, but there's still time for it. Let these guys prove that or show what they can do, be a bit more of a showcase for other teams, and let them come calling come deadline time, especially if the Penguins aren't winning.
Now, I don't remember how long ago this was, but I vaguely remember a Kyle Dubas press conference where he, in not so many words, again, paraphrasing, said, you can't do a tear it to the studs rebuild with the Penguins because the players here are just too good. Well, maybe when he was talking about that, he included guys like Rakell in his mind, guys like Rust in his mind, because we all assumed, okay, when he says that, he means Crosby, he means Malkin, he means Letang, because they're not going to trade those three guys. We just know that at this point, it's unlikely any of those three get traded. But maybe he was including guys like Rust and Rakell. Maybe he was including now a guy like Erik Karlsson. You can't tear it to the studs because the players here are just too good to garner trading them. And I think the question would become, can he backfill the organization with prospects fast enough to make it so that you don't have to trade away all of those pieces? Again, the answer remains to be seen, and I would be surprised if all three of those names that you mentioned are still on this roster come the deadline this year. But it is a huge question mark because if other things fall a certain way, you could argue, hey, you should keep those guys on, because if certain things fall away, you might be able to sniff a playoff spot. And again, I'm previewing what's to come in our Penguins predictions. But, if everything goes right and you hold on to these guys, this team is, to me, not a bottoming out team. So it's a huge question mark. I couldn't agree with you more, but it's not the biggest question mark. The biggest question mark to me, without a shadow of a doubt, is goaltending. Isn't it always, though, for the Penguins?
Yeah, that's why I avoided it. Because I thought of that too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on. We're going to have the conversation all year anyway.
We are, but I can't get away from it because Tristan Jarry has not looked good. He has not. I mean, I said the best case scenario, I think this was 2 weeks ago on this podcast. I said the best case scenario for the Penguins, as I move my cat out of the way. He's getting in my face. As I move him out of the way, the biggest question, he blocks the camera more than Tristan Jarry can block a shot.
Hey-yo.
But, the best case scenario would have been Tristan Jarry stepping up in training camp and stealing this job. He hasn't done that, and yet he's still going to get it. Partially because Joel Blomqvist got injured, partially because I think that's what was destined to happen. But he has not looked good, and there are major questions about him. And then even Arturs Silovs, who I really like, has questions about himself at the NHL level. So, while everybody wants to clamor for Sergei Murashov, it's not his time yet. And the people that we're left with, there's just a lot of questions as to what level they're going to play at.
Yeah. I think regardless of injuries or output in the preseason and training camp, I would have been stunned had the Penguins gone into the year with Blomqvist and Murashov. Stunned.
Well, if it was those two, yeah. If it was those two in general, I would have asked who got hurt or what happened.
Exactly. That being said, I keep saying one of the three of Blomqvist, Murashov, and Silovs. One of them has to hit. I
Yeah.
do think one of them will. Heck, two of them might. Heck, all three of them might, and just one of them has to be on another team, and that's perfectly okay. Jarry, I think the confidence from the fan base, from me and from you probably, is just down and out. It's not game over for Tristan Jarry. Like you said, best case scenario would be he takes everything back. He takes the crease back. He finds what made him a two-time All-Star half a decade ago. But he hasn't. And now here we are going into another year. You mentioned what's, or at least I said the big name trades, what's going on there. Tristan Jarry's among that conversation.
He is.
And he has been. And that's not going to change anytime soon. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with you in that goaltending will once again be the biggest question. I just didn't want to bring it up because we bring it up every year and we're going to bring it up all year.
You're like, I have at least 75 hours of talking about Penguins goaltending ahead of me over the next 6 months. I didn't want to start it now.
Pretty much. And it's fine that we do it. It's because, again, that is the correct answer overall. It is where this team is going to probably live and die, honestly.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it goes. They have Murashov, who everyone is excited for. And I think moving him to the AHL to start is the right move.
I agree.
Bar none. That's the right move. Get him some more seasoning. Don't throw him to the wolves like they did with Blomqvist, who, by the way, still has time to prove himself as well. Yes. So the Penguins, there's a lot there. I don't think any of it's bad, though. Is Tristan Jarry bad? Maybe. But I don't think this is a bad situation that the Penguins are in goaltending-wise. Again, they're not supposed to win this year, so if they're not getting saves, it's not the end of the world.
Now, you mentioned that it's not over for Tristan Jarry, and it's not. You're correct. But it kind of feels like it might be his last chance in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
With the way this season, I don't mean overall. Like, this season feels like, hey, it's put up or shut up, because even though the trade market might not be there for him, you look at the way the salary cap is moving. You look at the moves that Kyle Dubas is making. I mean, he just dumped Ryan Graves, that huge contract, into the AHL simply because why? Because they have the salary cap space to not worry about wasting $3 million in dead cap on Ryan Graves' contract. And I look at Tristan Jarry's buyout and I just say, man, after this year, that's very palatable if you're Kyle Dubas. And I hate to say that because I hate to see anybody get bought out, because that just means that there was faith placed in them and they just weren't able to capitalize on it. But if there's faith based in them or placed in them, that means there was talent there. And I still believe there's talent there for Tristan Jarry. You haven't been able to find it. And it's unfortunate, but I'll read you off these numbers and you let me know if it feels more realistic for a Jarry buyout after this season. Next year, it would be a $4.7 million cap hit. You'd save $600,000. The following year would be a $4.2 million cap hit. You'd save $1.1 million. And then you would only have to account for his money 2 more years at $458,000 apiece. That's very palatable if you're the Penguins looking to restart at the goaltending position.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely it is. Because who knows where the Penguins want to be next year or the year after. You really don't know. It's tough. You think maybe on that second year is when everything starts to turn around again. They start to ramp up with going after buying at the deadline per se, or going out and getting a big free agent name. You got a million off from a goaltender you're not using, and then suddenly it's $400,000 the next season. Oh yeah, you take that every day, especially with the cap going up exponentially in that year specifically. That's crazy. That might just be what they do. Oh my goodness, I didn't think of that. That just might, maybe not exactly, but it's very, very, very likely when you see that sort of gap between the cap going up and the cap hit from Jarry.
Not to mention, and I have to double check this because I didn't think about this before, but doesn't the Jack Johnson buyout number fall off after this year?
Part of me thought it was already up, but you might be right. After this year, it's also gone.
Yeah, let me check our friends over at Puckpedia real quick, because they are now the go-to. Yeah, you have 917,000 still of Jack Johnson that falls off after this year. So, again, the Penguins historically not a franchise that likes buyouts. Kyle Dubas as a general manager historically not someone who likes buyouts. But in this instance, it's hard to not look at it as a possible solution. And I hate to say it, and I'm very much so hoping that it doesn't come to that, but you have to start looking at that as a reality in the next calendar year for the Penguins, especially if all goes well with Sergei Murashov next year or this year. It's going to be hard to deny him that starting spot next year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Like I said, one of those three has to hit, and they're going to hit soon if they do.
Yeah.